Welcome back, listeners. I still have not heard from Jack. Her sister, Dr. Maria Fedek, has informed me that a police report has been filed and Jack is now officially a missing person. Maria was also willing to share with me that the police told her there was no sign of a break-in at Jack's apartment, and while they can't say too much more at this point, they believe it to be more likely that Jack voluntarily left than any sort of malicious act. Before we get into the final tape Jack left for us, I would like to discuss a few audience comments. First, we have another comment from our longtime fan, Jim Wallace. Okay, these are not just noise. I feel like these could be extremely important. Tape G is clearly someone out in the rain. Is there anyone that's good with Morse code? Some of the beeps had something very rhythmic in that vibe about them. I'm also going to go out there on this one. Some of you will think I'm reaching, but I think the trapped man is either hiding from or tracking the creature in the woods. Those sounds are very strange, and we have no idea what the creature is. Is it Bigfoot? Is it an alien? Is it a robot? Who knows? But there's part of me that thinks the trapped man found a way to hide and record it. In tape H, there's more rain and some walking around, but that's not what I find interesting. What I find the most interesting are the sounds in the middle. That's someone in a car. Those sounds are unmistakable. The only other sounds they could possibly be would be someone by the ocean, but my bet is on it being someone in a car recording. The sounds at the beginning and end of tape H, to me, sound like the machines they use in old movie theaters to rewind the movies. It is a very rhythmic sound and consistent. I used to work at a theater, and they sounded like that. I am super excited to see what everyone else has to say about these tapes. I do not think they are just sound, but a big clue. Jack, if you read this, come back. We believe you. I am going to allow this comment to stand for itself. I personally don't feel that I have a strong enough grasp on these tapes to do anything other than speculate. A user named Andy Sucks sent this to me in an email. Long-time listener, first-time commenter. Firstly, my opinion on the sounds, it sounded like a water pump at one point. It was definitely rain for a lot of it, and sounded like he was walking in it at one point. My friend Angola thought one of the sounds also might be from the bowling alley, like the ball return coming on. The sound Jim commented on sounded like a dryer to me, but for sure some kind of rhythmic machine. I am commenting, however, mostly because I feel before this podcast ends, we need to know more about Jack's brother. The man in the town had some serious issues with his brother, and we have yet to hear almost anything from Jack's brother, not even from her sister. You have access to information we don't. Even if Dr. Fedek doesn't help, you can at least Google him. The man in the town has some connection to the family, whether supernaturally or otherwise. Is the brother a victim? Another serial killer? I didn't want to say anything early on because this is Jack's life, but if she is in trouble, I think it bears looking into. We are currently listening to the tapes again. Right off of the bat, one of the first garbled things he says in tape A very much sounds like, I need someone to talk to, begin garbled, even if that's your sister. We need to know about the families, and Lena is the only one who could do that. I'll post more if we make out anything else. Stay safe. I reached out to Jack's brother to see if he'd be willing to talk with me about the tapes, and although he was reluctant to at first, he did eventually agree to speak with me off camera. In short, he verified pretty much everything Jack and Maria said about him. His belief and interest in the tapes would peak when a new one was released and fall pretty shortly thereafter. I want to respect his anonymity, but I can confirm that I have seen evidence of him as a child with Jack and Maria. He has no criminal record to speak of, and as far as I can tell, he's a completely normal guy. Two things did stand out in our conversation with him, however. First, he said that Jack lied when she said tape E scared him and caused him to need a break from the tapes. He said their mother was the one who had a breakdown over it. He said his mom's breakdown really bothered him, but the tape itself didn't affect him. Secondly, he said that while he doesn't think the tapes are real, he doesn't think his mom or sister are crazy either. He also said that Maria was wrong when she claimed their mom forced Jack to listen to the second tape. He remembers that night when his mom played the second tape for Jack. He said that the commotion woke him up too, and he remembers the conversation well. Jack really wanted to listen to the tape. He said he remembers it so well because at this point, he hadn't listened to any of the tapes, and he wanted Jack to say yes because he thought if she did, he would be allowed to listen to them too. We're about to listen to tape I. However, I do need to clear something up first. The first 5 minutes of this tape contains the trapped man yelling in pain about his ankle. I'll be skipping most of this for reasons that will quickly become clear. In addition, I will not be commenting my thoughts on the tape because at this point, I have just as much insight on it as any of you. I do, however, have one more important thing to discuss after the tape's conclusion. So without further ado, we do have to warn our listeners, some people might find some of the language and circumstances being described in this tape disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
Somebody please help! My leg gets hurt really bad, and I think that should do it. Yeah, I think that should do it. You're here now, aren't you? You're listening to this. Yeah, you are. Because you're really fucking stupid. And you fell for it. And besides, that's how this relationship works, isn't it? I sit here and I pour all of my pain and misery out. And you just sit there and you lap it up, feeding off of it. God, I wish I could let the world know how fucking stupid you were. I wish I could just pick up a phone and dial everyone at once and let them know that you fell for it. Oh, well. I guess it'll just have to be another secret between you and me. I really debated on doing this part of the tape. I thought the more poetic ending would be me to just scream in agony until it runs out. And this is the end. You know, they say all good things must come to an end. They leave out that all bad things have to as well. Because everything has an end. Even you. I take a little bit of solace in knowing that. Before it's over, I have one last story that I want to tell you.
Felt fear. He was scared. Even changed his name.
Hoping that would somehow sever him from his past. Sorry, I don't know how this story ends. But I think you get the point all the same. One last thing that I want to add. I fucking hate you. I hate what you are. I hate what you represent. I hate everything about you. And no matter what else happens to me in my entire life, I am so happy to be done with you. So that's it. The end.
Welcome back, listeners. Well, as you all know, this is the final tape that we received from Jack. So, for all intents and purposes, this should be our final episode. With that said, so many of you have shared with me your support and concern for Jack. And I do not feel like it would be proper to end this podcast without a definitive answer about her whereabouts. So before I end this episode, I would like to state plainly that if I get any updates or information about Jack, I will post them here. In the meantime, the best thing we can do is to try and solve these tapes. Your guidance has helped Jack make some real progress in her investigation. And there's a good chance that she's still out there, watching and waiting to figure out the last few pieces. I know she was always very bothered by the fact that she didn't know definitively the order that the tapes were supposed to be in. I also know that if we can find some sort of timeline about when the trapped man arrived in the town, we could majorly narrow down the profile. So please keep sharing the show with anyone you think could help. Before I sign off, there is something you all should know. As was mentioned in the episode for tape F, before she left, Jack shared her drive folder with me that contained all of the tapes. But there was more than just the audio files in the folder. There was also a receipt from when Jack had the tapes digitized, which was well after Jack's mom left. The reason I mention this is because we have released 9 tapes, tapes A through I. And there were 9 tapes digitized and documented in the folder. This proves that the tape Dr. Fedek had in her possession was not one of the 9 tapes Jack was aware of, meaning the tape that Jack acquired is a tape she didn't know existed. Before I end this episode, as it may be the last one for a while, I would like to again thank each and every person that listened to, watched, and especially shared this podcast. I would particularly like to thank our 2 longtime contributors, Jim Wallace and Matthias Deja. Without your unwavering support and contributions, I don't know if this show would have continued. Jack, if you are out there listening, all I can say is, I hope Jack be safe. This is Lena with Tapes from Beyond. Good night and stay safe.